Welcome back to Paranormal Nightshift, your home for all things that go bump in the dark and your fan stories told here. I'm Grayson McGaha. After the outpour of support for yesterday's video and the demand for part 2, here it is. Now I will warn you, viewer discretion is advised. This story takes a very dark and tragic turn. And once again, for all the people in the comments, these stories are fan-submitted stories. We don't claim them to be true. We don't claim them to be false. We're simply here for the story. When we left off, Gloria and Ryan had saged the house and had gotten in contact with the previous owners who lost their daughter tragically to SIDS. Gloria and Ryan had decided to name their baby Elizabeth after the lost child. Things went back to normal for a little bit. No more visions, no more trances, no more crazy dreams. It looked like the saging of the house had worked. And by naming our daughter Elizabeth, I felt like we had somehow honored the spirit of Nick and Brenda's daughter, Elizabeth, who was taken from this world tragically at such a young age. But once we invited Nick and Brenda into our home, the paranormal activity escalated to a point that none of us were prepared for. Gloria and Ryan, they were trying to be respectful. They were trying to honor the memory of this lost baby, but boundaries needed to be set. Nick and Brenda would not listen. They were always here. They would show up randomly. They'd be at the house waiting for the baby. They'd be in our driveway. They would stop by unexpectedly. Gloria and I didn't know what to do. Brenda always wanting to hold the baby, always having such a weird connection to the baby. On multiple occasions, Brenda would call the baby hers, call herself Mama. I corrected her myself several times. You mean Elizabeth? Our baby. Yes, that's what I mean, Brenda said. Of course, how silly of me, I'm sorry. But Elizabeth, our baby, we would catch her talking, staring at the wall. A baby this little shouldn't be having conversations. They don't have imaginary friends, it's just gibberish. But it was like she was having a conversation with someone in the room. At night, the paranormal activity was even worse. We would hear the baby monitor go off. We would hear crying, but when we got there, Elizabeth was sound asleep in her crib. Several nights, the baby monitor would go off, and I would hear the baby crying. I would hear what sounded like lullabies being sung. And then I realized when I turned over, my wife was still in bed. Who was the woman that was in there with our child? I would rush out of bed just to find Elizabeth asleep. And the visits from Nick and Brenda. I was trying to be respectful, but this was my house. Things had gotten too far and I was no longer comfortable with the situation. Gloria, I don't want them here. I was trying to be polite. It's tragic, yes. I was trying to be polite. It's tragic what happened to their daughter, but their connection to our daughter, and it is our daughter, it's weird and I don't like it. I don't want them here anymore and I don't know how to tell them that. Gloria and Ryan cut Nick and Brenda off from Elizabeth. Things had gotten out of hand. There was an altercation in the parking lot. Things got physical. Charges were pressed. That didn't stop the paranormal activity. In fact, it made it worse. Elizabeth, our child, our baby, became colicky, became ill, became so hard to deal with. She would never sleep. She would never stop crying. She just became so hard and angry to deal with. Ryan and Gloria were losing sleep. They would argue all the time now. There was always tension in the house. That's when everything came to a head. That's the night that it boiled over. Gloria and Ryan lay in the bed and they awoke to screaming over the baby monitor at 3 o'clock in the morning. They rushed into the nursery to see Nick and Brenda standing over Elizabeth's crib. Ryan charged at them, but with unnatural strength, Nick threw him to the ground. They were holding something in their hands. They were performing some sort of ritual over our child. Nick and Brenda held a Ouija board and trinkets. They had painted demonic and cult-like things all over the walls. They were both chanting something. They had what appeared to be a blood-soaked cloth with bones that they laid in Elizabeth's crib. The chanting got louder and louder. With every bit of strength Ryan had, he mustered and ran towards both of them. But that's when the bang happened. It sounded like lightning filling the room. I saw Ryan hit the floor, and then I saw Ryan breathe his last breath. I screamed as I looked at Ryan's lifeless body. Please, please don't hurt my baby. Please don't hurt us. Just leave us alone. Nick and Brenda, now holding Elizabeth in their arms, said, "We're sorry, but he said it was the only way. He said it was the only way that we could make this right. A life for a life. Our child is reborn." Knowing that I was next, Nick and Brenda lurched over me. "Please, please don't hurt me. Hurt you. Our baby will be hungry, and our baby needs to feed." Whew, I've missed telling these stories. That one got intense, but I thank you for bearing with us. If you guys want to continue this, you know what to do. Show love down here in the comments, share these videos, check out the playlist, and thank you again for watching Paranormal Night Shift.